Has a January thaw ever felt so good? I'm Charlie Sykes. Sunday Insight starts right now. Good morning and welcome to Sunday Insight. In the week that was, it was a week of scandals, apologies, and revelations, bombshell books, emails.
This administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America.
50 years ago last week, President Lyndon Johnson declared what became known as the war on poverty. So how did that turn out? Over the last 5 decades, we've spent trillions of dollars on that war, but last year, more than 46 million Americans remained in poverty, a record high. More than 47 million Americans are now on food stamps, up almost 50% under this president, also a record high. So, did we lose the war on poverty, and if so, why? Lynne, DeBruin.
Well, I guess I would take a little bit issue about whether the war is over and we lost it. I think this is an ongoing thing that's going to go on for many generations, not only in our country but across the world. I think a lot has been done, particularly in other countries, to improve the standard of living of a lot of our world's poor, which frankly most Americans are not. But bottom line, the reason I don't think we've conquered it here is there's never been a general in charge from administration to administration, and people have not had consensus on how you fight it. For example, the whole debate about whether to raise the minimum wage. You've got a whole bunch of folks, myself included, that think that's a valuable tool in the war on poverty. You've got a whole other group of folks that think that hurts jobs.
Okay, Brian Sikma, I think it's overwhelming that after trillions of dollars in 50 years, we still have people living in poverty. You've lost that war on poverty. Why did we lose?
Well, the reason we lost the war on poverty was because we were interested in building safety nets for dependency, ladders for success and independence. And as the war on poverty unfolded, it was all about government programs that ended up providing perverse incentives. Public policymakers needed to take a step back and realize when you reward people for breaking down a basic economic unit, the family, when you reward them for making bad choices, getting on unemployment, and then never doing anything to get off of unemployment, unlike what Governor Scott Walker is doing here in Wisconsin, where he's trying to get people to be accountable if you're taking unemployment insurance. These programs came with no accountability mechanisms, no design to actually get people off the rolls. So that's why you have this stagnation in the poverty level.
Alex Runner.
Well, I think, Brian, I think you are onto something, and I may align with you a little bit here. So, in the city of Milwaukee, 1/3 of our taxable land is nonprofit, which raises the taxes on businesses, homes, everyone else, and everyone and their mother wants to have a nonprofit in the city of Milwaukee. Whenever some agency starts up, they want to come to the city of Milwaukee. What the city of Milwaukee really needs, for example, are jobs, and they need businesses. We need small businesses. We need to, I think, many times lower the tax burden.
On this war on poverty, are you acknowledging that at a certain point the welfare culture proved that by undermining communities, undermining families, extending dependency, that is not the route out of poverty?
I think that is one piece of the puzzle. I think we have extended some dependency. Everyone that I live in the central city. Yeah. All my neighbors who, if they are out of work, they want to work. Right. There's no one who doesn't want to work. But I do think we're not fighting this war.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Most people do want to work, but I don't think we're fighting the war very intelligently. I think that we need to fight it smarter.
We are making it comfortable to be poor, which I think is unfortunate for those individuals. We're giving them housing allowances, a phone, food, and utility subsidies. We need to give these people a job. I think we have lost this war miserably. Right now in Congress, they've passed 150 job bills. The Senate won't take up a single one of them. I mean, our country was built on mining and coal and everything else, and the EPA just continues to stop everything from moving forward. The Keystone Pipeline, for goodness sakes. Build that and people will have jobs.
We haven't mentioned this. I mean, one of the key ways of dealing with poverty is to get kids get a good education. So at the very time when we were breaking down the families, breaking down the communities, the quality of Central City education, I think, has become a national scandal. And you cannot talk about the failures of the last 50 years without talking about the failure of urban education. Now, you may not want to hear it, but we're going to tell you anyway. So we're going to hand out some unsolicited advice. Alex Runner, you get to go first, of course.
All right, my unsolicited advice is for Mary Burke, who is the Democratic nominee for governor. Mary, speak up. Your state is starving for real and substantial leadership that goes beyond sound bites. We need to hear from you and understand why you have a burning desire to be governor.
Michelle. Yes, Michelle.
Okay. Well, if you are thinking about purchasing a wood stove, you'd better do it soon. The EPA wants to add regulations to reduce emissions from wood. You see, when the coal plants are shut down, the EPA wants to make sure that no one can heat their home with wood either.
Lynne, DeBruin.
The New York Satanic Temple recently asked Oklahoma authorities for approval to place a statue of Satan on Capitol property right next to a statue of the Ten Commandments. My advice to the Satanists is that they should read the first commandment, which says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." This should give them an idea of how likely it is that Oklahoma will approve their request.
Brian Sikma.
According to rightwisconsin.com, it appears that tax revenues to the state of Wisconsin are likely to be significantly higher than previous projections have stated. Now, Wisconsin lawmakers should use this opportunity to eliminate the state's poorly written and counterproductive alternative minimum tax if they want to encourage the state's economy.
Well, my unsolicited advice, if you're a politician who's messed up big time, watch that press conference by Chris Christie, the apology, the accountability, answering every single question without a teleprompter. Next on Sunday Inside, he lost his job because he stepped in to help a woman being beaten by her boyfriend. Should he get his job back? Well, the sheriff and other officials call him a hero, but he's still out of a job. The operators of the bus system fired Supervisor Bill Bierman after he stepped in. It's time for our panel to pick the winners and losers of the week. Alex Runner, you are first.
My winner for the week is MCTS bus supervisor Bill Bierman, who intervened when it appeared that a woman was being attacked on the south side. As we all know, Bierman was fired for trying to help. He's a winner in my book. My loser is the dubious news website 24/7 Wall Street. Without really looking into the city finances, pension obligations, or our bond rating, this site opined that Milwaukee is one of the worst-run cities in the nation. What's clear is that 24/7 Wall Street, like Wall Street itself, is what's poorly run.
Michelle.
My winner is Chris Turney, the climate change professor who led an expedition to the Antarctic where their ship was stuck in the ice for 10 days. He said, sea ice is disappearing due to climate change, but here the ice is building up. You're a quick learner. My losers are the Democrats in D.C. They are pushing the idea of income inequality and extending long-term unemployment benefits, which only makes it easier to stay right where you are. Give the unemployed a job. Allow the Keystone Pipeline to be built along with other opportunities so the United States can once again be the promised land.
Lynne DeBruin.
Well, in the United States, Chris Christie is having a bad week. But in Europe, the Italian Supreme Court is having a terrible week. Europeans are livid that the court overturned the conviction of a 60-year-old man for having sex with an 11-year-old girl. The justices said it was not rape because the girl consented and the two had a romantic relationship. Unbelievable. John McCain is my winner for calling Dennis Rodman an idiot over his comments in support of North Korea's government and against American hostage Kenneth Bae.
Brian Sikma.
Excerpts of former Defense Secretary Robert Gates' forthcoming memoir were released this week, and in the book we learned that President Obama never really believed in the military's mission in Afghanistan. For his candor in revealing the narcissistic cynicism of the president, Gates is my winner. Governor Chris Christie, the political knife fighter with the build of a sumo wrestler, is my loser of the week. Christie's aides created 4 days of traffic jams as political payback in New Jersey. But although Christie has since fired the aides and disowned the plot, his political reputation took a hit this week.
Yeah, well, my winner, Senator Ron Johnson, who spoke for a lot of voters when he filed a lawsuit against the sweet Obamacare deal for Congress and congressional staff members. Imagine that, forcing Congress to live by the same rules as the rest of us little people. Loser, Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner. Look, I like the guy, but his criticism of Johnson's lawsuits and his defense of his taxpayer-funded bennies made him sound tone-deaf and a walking poster child for term limits. Thanks for joining us. Join me for my radio show Monday morning on News Radio 620 WTMJ from 8:30 until noon. Have a great week.